Hello and welcome to the Industry Podcast. My name is Corey. I'm joined by my co-host Blake, and our guest today is Elyes. The Industry Podcast is your scoop for interviews, insights, and inside stories from the industry. How are you doing today, Blake?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. And Elyes, how are you today?
Great.
Awesome. We're really happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
And so what we like to do starting off is just to talk about our week in the industry or anything really. So what kind of things have you been up to this week?
Well, I just moved to Austin, so just like 2 weeks now, coming from New York State. And so it's just quite new. I'm discovering the landscape.
Cool.
And getting to know and network with people in the industry here. And so far, so good.
Awesome. I'm glad we could be the exclusive. We get the exclusive with Elyes.
Yeah, the first Austin. One, by the way. First interview, yeah.
I love that. So what part of New York State did you move from?
So New York City and Brooklyn. So yeah, but originally I'm from Tunisia, North Africa.
Oh,
that's
cool.
Where,
that's where you grew up?
Yeah, I grew up there and did my studies in Paris. And then worked a little bit around the world, like in the Middle East, North Africa, Belgium. Had some shooting in more than 20 countries, like India and Pakistan, Egypt, United States, Europe, basically. And then I decided to move to the United States and to pursue my career. So 2 years in New York City, and then I decided, thanks to some friends, who told me, just come to Austin and you will be amazed. And seriously, it's really beautiful city. Oh my God, it's really, really nice place.
I agree. It is. And Blake and Blake moved a little over a year ago, and I about a year and a half ago. So we've gotten our first impression of Austin and gone pretty far from where we were. And that's awesome that you're an international man and
thank you. Yeah,
traveled all over the world already. They say do it in your 20s. Did you do a lot of shooting and stuff? When did you get into film?
Well, I was pretty young. I was like 19.
Perfect. That's the perfect age, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was 19 and my first...
Get all your friends together. I'm going to make a movie. You guys want to
join? But it took me like 3 years to get graduated and then go to Paris. And then in Paris, I had my film directing degree in a private school called Le Conservatoire Libre du Cinéma Français. It's the oldest private film school in France.
That sounds really, really exclusive.
French. It sounds
really French. Yeah. Only French movies there that you
No, by the way, it was quite international. Lovely. And really oriented on 35 millimeters shooting.
Wow.
And it was exclusive for filmmaking, cinema, and there were no video at that time. I'm talking about 94.
Okay.
So yeah, and then went back to Tunisia, worked on several movies as assistant director and location manager and production coordinator and stuff like that.
Okay.
And among them, the Star Wars 1 and 2, The Phantom Menace.
Really?
Yeah, as location manager. On
That's
the second
amazing.
One, on the second one. And the first one, I was one of the, 20-something assistants. So anyway, and then started to direct TV commercials and documentaries and features and so on. Yeah.
That's really incredible that you got that international sort of merit to be fearless to go to different countries. Like if I got in a gig tomorrow that was in like, Denmark or some other country, I mean, that would be a huge jump to go to a whole country and get used to that, traveling and then like put in my best effort on a film set. It sounds like that you kind of started in that world and getting comfortable with shooting in different countries, because I know it's wildly different in different countries.
Definitely. It's always tricky, to shoot in a different country. And I had this chance to do it in more than 35 countries, something. I had one production where we shot in 21 countries or something.
Whoa.
So yeah, so it was a show on disabled children, and and they're the gifted one, and how they really succeed in life school thanks to art and stuff like that. And yeah, it's always a challenge, filming in another country, and you learn a lot. You learn a lot, yeah. And that's one of my, let's say, I had this opportunity to film in all these countries and see other way of living, and especially the 10 years of documentaries. I was much more involved in conflict zone, wars or conflict zones, and that was also,
I thought you said comfort zone.
No, conflicts. No.
Wildly different thing.
No, comfort zone. I mean, I just left Tunisia just because I was in my comfort zone there, but it's like conflict zone. Yeah.
Wow. So what's the genre that you've gravitated to in your experience? Is it documentaries and that sort of thing, or?
I mean, it was 10 years of documentaries. I think it's okay. I mean, if I have a project, if I'm hired for a project in documentaries, I'll do it for sure. But much more, I'm focusing on feature now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I released my second feature in 2017 called Tunis by Night.
Okay.
And it won several awards around the world. And I'm now working on a horror movie with Mark McCannon as co-author with me, and we have another drama called Brooklyn Winter, and we have a couple of TV show that we are working on as screenwriters as well. So yeah, I'm much more now, focusing now as an author, a director on feature.
That's really incredible. So, a little bit about myself. I got into film about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And went to school here in the States, and just moved from up north. And I got really into creative film first. And my first film was actually a horror film, with a well-known special effects director, Jim Ojala.
Okay.
And we shot in the middle of nowhere in northern Minnesota. No cell service or anything. We just kind of were essentially camping, but we had to, film 12 hours a day, and it was such a grind. And I got so much knowledge and so much information from how a professional set is run, just from being like a 20-year-old kid on this feature film. And I've just kind of taken that momentum and just jumped into as many film projects as I've gotten. And that branched off into a photography business, a video production business. And I just saw Austin, and I saw the opportunity, and moved down here. And so Blake just moved down a little over a year ago, and he was just out of college, right?
I was out of college for about a year, so.
Hey, get a little bit closer to the mic there.
Me?
Yeah.
Well,
I know we don't have headphones, but I can hear it in the ether.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I had graduated college in May of 19, but then it took me about a year to get down here. So
right.
I was originally going to move down here like in summer of 19, but I didn't have a job at the time. They were telling me at the Connection Apartments where you helped me move in, they said, unless you can provide some pay stubs for us, where you're currently working, we won't be able to get you in. And so I had to work at Walmart for a while and in Springfield so I could show them pay stubs. But of course,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
But after a week or two after I got here, I started working at Build a Sign.
Right. Yeah. I remember that job. Yeah. That was a really filmmaker friendly job. And I think that's something we can talk about a little bit as a filmmaker friendly job. And for Blake, Build a Sign was working in a print shop. I think it was like 3 days a week. And is that right? You were working 12-hour days. It was pretty grueling, but then you had all these extra days in addition to the weekend to work on films and stuff. And that worked out.
Yep. And on the weeks that we had to work for 4 days, which was Wednesday, they would provide a free lunch for us.
Oh, that's awesome. So you got free lunch, kind of like a film set in a way.
Yeah, and you And you remember last Christmas you helped me make that canvas picture for my parents?
That's right. Yeah. I got a little bit of Photoshop experience, a little bit of post-production experience. And as far as like learning filmmaking and learning how to make a movie and things like that, I don't know if this is how you learned as well, but we kind of learned how to do everything.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Write it, shoot it,
Definitely.
Edit it, and then I think that what I'm working on the most right now is distribution. And work and just looking at that and trying to take a professional.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I mean, you have to touch all the components of the movie industry in order to understand how it works. So basically, I went through the same path, by the way. So I was like into cinematography and sound and editing. I did 2 years of editing. At the time, it was 35 millimeters editing.
That's right.
Yeah, so it was so interesting. And of course, it's the right path, I think. And then you have to choose something. I mean, either you want to be much more screenwriter than anything else, or director, or cinematographer, or whatever. So it's a kind of a choice that you have to do, and basically that's will give you the reward. If you focus on sound engineering and you dedicate yourself and your knowledge and your learning and your mind in getting and being the best sound engineer, that's the way to go. That's a kind of, I always say, when you choose it's not a job,
right?
It's a way of living.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And it can be on set as a way of life and jumping from one production to another, or it can be in post-production and just living the studio life.
Exactly.
I working in the studio here and then working on productions in between has been awesome. Like I didn't do anything like this up north. Where there was this much availability and this much like support and sort of perception for doing creative things.
Correct.
And not just creative films, but music videos and everything in between. It's really awesome. So we're glad to have you, another filmmaker in Austin, another international filmmaker. And
thank you. I saw on Facebook. Yeah, sure. Yeah, please. I saw on Facebook group. I mean, there were like a lot of filmmakers coming now to Austin. It looks like it's the destination of the one or the West and the East Coast.
It's very
Los
true.
Angeles.
Yeah.
I got the filmmaker group was a big motivator for me to come down, because I saw gigs happening where I just saw that there was a lot of demand for crew members.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of posts over and over again. So I thought that was like, oh, they just really, really need people. No. And I could be down there and just fill those positions. So yeah, I guess my impression from coming down here and expecting that, it's definitely worked out in that way. Not necessarily consecutive feature films, but it's kind of a spattering all over the place, like I said. But yeah, that filmmaker group and all the posts of like crew calls and other people moving in, it was a huge influence of like, okay, this is where all my people are going to be.
Yeah, and they're pretty reactive, they're just like, people say, hey, welcome to Austin, you're welcome, and the whole thing, and it's really warm. You feel like you're accepted, and you have like, okay, you belong to a community here.
Absolutely. We try to do as much as we can to welcome filmmakers, because I got that same welcoming and Blake got the same welcoming, so we just kind of just pay it forward,
I'll do the same next year.
Exactly. So learning filmmaking in France. And so did you buy your first camera before going to college, or did you just kind of learn in that college setting, or what was your first impression?
I'm much more an academic guy. I learned much more. At the beginning, I wanted to read a lot about the industry, read about filmmaking, read about directing, read about screenwriting, and still it's my way of doing. I need to read a lot of books and watch videos, but at the time, no YouTube, nothing. So everything, no internet. So no internet. I mean, we can't imagine how the world was without internet. I mean, can you imagine the world without internet?
I grew up with slow internet, which is worse.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it sounded like too.
I bought my first camera like very late, like when I was 35, 40.
Sure.
But no, at the beginning I worked a lot. Basically, my first shooting was a TV commercial on 35 millimeters camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite stressing. So and then working on commercials, just I really learned a lot.
Yeah, and so I'd love to know what your opinion is about the switch from film to digital, because it sounds like you were kind of at the catalyst of that switch, and maybe you read about film and you read about and watched a lot of film movies, and then that switch happened, and it seems like it happened just so fast.
Yeah, exactly. It's so fast. And the idea is that I felt that something is switching, and if I don't jump on the wave, I'll miss something. And I saw some of my friends, especially the editors, they were editing on 35 and 16, super 16 millimeters, and then the digital was there. And some of them didn't have any knowledge about IT, so they couldn't follow the flow and all these changes that happening so fast.
Sure.
So what I did is that I was kind of snobbing somehow, the video and the whole digital thing. I was like snobbing.
You must respect the picture.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like an old man, 35 millimeters or nothing. But then, starting shifting, and I saw this shift in TV commercials when we started to work with the Sony F900, I think 900, 9000, the HD something, with the blue cassette. And I said, okay, I worked some stuff with Betacam and the whole thing, but then I saw that something is changing now, and I have to learn. I have to learn new skills.
Yeah.
So, but basically what I wanted to do, I wanted to keep the same way of setting my scenes and the same way of setting my my blocking and the whole thing, the whole process. And the idea is to be a little bit, how to say it, precise. Because it's very easy when it comes to digital to do 20, 30, 40 takes.
Right.
It doesn't cost you that much.
Right.
But if you do it in 35 millimeters, it's something else. Okay. I mean, if you are in an average
it's a state of mind.
It's a state of mind.
A feeling of scarcity where you have to put more effort into each
exactly,
take, right?
Exactly. But then, the whole thing shifted. Even the way of working shifted, the way of working. So now you can even shoot the rehearsal. It's not a problem. You can have 90 takes. It's okay. No one's gonna tell you. I mean, okay, you're gonna spend much more time in doing your scene and ending your scene, but it's not gonna have that much consequence on the budget.
Right.
But what I try to do at least is to keep it strict. I'm saying, okay, I'm just changing the camera. I'm just changing the pipeline, but I don't want to change the process.
Sure.
My process of working,
Right,
so with this kind of very precise way of directing, of blocking, of putting the camera, I'm choosing the scene, choosing the frame.
It sounds like you have your craft down to a science, and to be able to transplant that across.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
but
amazing.
I saw that the next generation, they were taking it in a very easy way. They didn't have this kind of very rigorous way, very strict way of doing things. They were like, it's okay, you know. And especially in the editing. In the editing, I saw how much, I mean, there is a big difference between the one who had this opportunity to work on the 35 millimeters and the one who didn't have.
Just kind of jumped in.
Yeah. And they were like very way of cutting, tack, 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 tack. Okay, but still, you need to, a little bit, when it comes to feature, you really need to take your time. You need to go, not in a slow way, but in a more conscious way of choosing the right scene, the right momentum of the scene, the right angle. Take your time. And the time is something really important in post-production, in editing. Time is really important. Yeah. So that's one of the thing, you know, in terms of, you know, differences between the way I was working in 35 millimeters and the way when the digital, you know, came to the scene.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like the first thing you said was you realized that was the future and you tried to adapt to it and said, I'm going to miss something if I don't adapt to that. I kind of feel like this, and I'm going to age myself, not necessarily, but I'm going to age myself because I feel like that for digital cameras, and now it's moving to phones. Now everything is being shot with phones. And Blake was actually on a production in Arizona, right? What was that production called?
It was called Magic Hour.
Magic Hour. And tell me about that story. You were talking about the director was shooting with an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And what did he do with that iPhone? I know the story, but I want Elyes to hear it from you.
Well, he rented the lens. I totally forget the name of the store and everything he rented it from, but it was lens where you put the iPhone 11 on the tripod and then you take a big camera thing that holds the lens and he put the lens in front of the phone to make it seem like he was filming with a really high quality camera.
Yeah. I used that technique.
So they make adapters to stop down a Cine lens down to iPhone.
Definitely.
And then iPhone, came out with that triple, lens on their iPhone X, and that's a really interesting point too, because that was on old cameras. With the switchable front lenses, and I'm sure
Beaulieu. I think it was the Beaulieu or the Aton that was with the three lenses, and you changed
the Bell and Howell and the Bell and Howell had three different. It had sepia and ND and another filter that you could just switch around if you needed it, and then other ones had that 3 focal length.
Yeah.
So iPhone does that, and they can use a software side of things to composite that into one photo.
Oh.
So then you can zoom all the way in, you get that detail.
Right.
And I haven't really used it myself. I'm not really an Apple guy, but I saw that and I was like, oh, so film is coming back. Film is like the techniques and things like that. It's coming back around for sure.
Yeah. It's the philosophy of film.
Yeah.
It's the philosophy of film that is coming back, which is the right way to do it, I think. Mm-hmm. But talking about the switch now, I think today, we had a revolution called the IT revolution. Remember when the bookkeepers, for example, they used to keep the books, with on books, and mm-hmm. writing, with their pen.
Write down books. Ledgers.
Exactly. Journals. And then IT came on board and everything is on Excel sheets and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And if you had the chance to learn a computer or stuff like that, so you can find a new job, and now it's the same thing with the digital transformation. It's not only about IT knowledge or working on a computer. Mm-hmm. No, but it's you have to know data today. You have to know how to work on digital campaigns. You have to know on digital anything. So you're talking about phone, of course, definitely. So our use today is much more, I think, minimum is 50-50 between your computer or your phone and your phone. Mm-hmm. And I guess And I value much more the phone than the computer. Today, I use much more my phone than my computer.
The same.
Yeah. So definitely. So here we are in a shifting zone, and we need. Actually, I'm learning. Everything about digital marketing and the whole thing. Yes, you need to know. Even if you don't have any business, you are your own business.
Right.
You need to know about digital marketing today. It's a must.
Definitely, and I think that's where social media comes in, and wearing just one extra hat for a filmmaker is to create a social media page for your film on top of square one of writing it and going all the way through. So has that been a good experience for you? Would you consider yourself like a lifelong learner and learning new things?
Cool.
Cool.
I'm a lifelong learner. I'm an eternal learner. I'm a good learner.
Awesome.
Really. I mean, that's that's something. I'm really blessed and really happy that I do have this passion for learning. So I'm starting some a new online courses on directing, screenwriting, and so I'm preparing the whole thing, online.
Wow.
Which everything now is after COVID. Things are shifting online, so
it's hard to believe that film and darkrooms ever existed in this world.
Yeah, definitely. So and it's good because you're sharing knowledge with the world today. So you give your knowledge and you have to, and it's kind of giving back. For me, it's kind of giving back to the industry and to the new generation. Because somehow my experience as well is something not that much. It's quite different. Let's say in my region, you don't have that much film director that leave their country and go to the States or Japan or whatever, and basically it's almost starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not in terms of experience, but in terms of, network and getting job and directing things. It's really like starting from scratch, and it's quite tough.
And not just a country, but different cities. And creating networks across the world. So would you say that you have you still have networks in other countries that you could reach into? Yeah,
sure. I have networks in.
That's super valuable.
In France, I have a lot of contacts in France, in Belgium, North Africa, the Middle East. These are the countries where I'm really kind of strong in term of connections. But now my life is here in the States. I'm doing my movies here, and I'm looking forward to meeting great producers. For my next projects and work on others' projects. I mean, other people's projects, other directors' projects as producer or coordination or whatever. Because it's okay for me to be on others people's films. I'll be really glad to bring my experience. Yeah.
So you're open to volunteer, or are you doing paid things?
Paid thing, volunteering, mentoring. Cool.
We need all the help we can get for experience and teaching kids the process of filmmaking, and I love that. I love the professional process of filmmaking and how precise and like you feel good after it's just real sound, real camera, last looks, all that stuff goes through in such a dance, and it's perfect.
Exactly. And thinking also to bring some projects here to be shot in Texas.
Oh, cool.
For example, I mean the offering we were thinking because there's a part to be shot in North Africa.
Okay.
And another part, like almost the half, or like let's say the third, should be here in the United States. So at the beginning we were thinking about Pennsylvania, and then we went to upper state New York. And then when I saw how much Austin is green and there are lakes and stuff like that, we said, okay, I told Mark, okay, let's consider to shoot it here in Austin. And we have like kind of like a part of the budget. We have secured a part of the budget. So now the thing is that we have to find the right producer, local producer, to take the project and to move forward with it.
So what's the next step for your project? Is it securing locations, securing
it's
crew?
meeting the right. Now it's meeting the producer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then the
because
producer's role will be to do
exactly.
all that.
And then we move with the producer, and then I'm gonna connect the dots between the producer and some of the funders, and we start the development process. Yeah.
Awesome. What has your experience been in getting a film funded and invested in?
Well, I want to know that too.
Yeah, that's a really, really $1 million question in Austin.
Sure. I mean, between documentaries, long feature documentaries and feature films, narrative one, I made about seven movies. Okay, so 5 feature documentaries and 2 feature films, narrative one. And the documentaries were much more funded by either donors or TV channels.
Okay.
Yeah, they were commissioned by TV channels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that so? How does that go down? Is that a website? You have to be on a certain list, like networking, know the right person.
In my case, it was much more. I went to make a very small, directing project in Qatar, and I had this contact with the head of the channel, and he said, "Okay, we want to have you on board." And I said, I'm sorry. At that time, I said, I'm sorry. I'm not interested to be, in a TV channel, like a salary and stuff like that. But
Sure.
if you have anything else I'm open. He said, what do you want? I answered, if you have any risky things, I will be really more than happy to collaborate with it. He said, what the hell? What,
Elyes, you're a man of danger.
What the risky things? I'm saying, you know what? I'm working on TV commercials now, and I'm quite in my comfort zone. So I would like you to get out of my comfort zone. Okay, he said. It was back in 2005.
Okay.
And he told me, okay, you know what? We want to do a movie in Pakistan.
Ah, okay.
And at that time, they had like a big earthquake in north of Pakistan, and the whole world went to north of Pakistan to rescue there.
Wow.
And it was quite dangerous there because they were waiting for a second wave. So I said, okay, let me go 1 week to Paris to make research there, see what was made on Pakistan, and I will tell you if I'm your man or not. And you have to pay for it. And he said,
best thing ever.
said, okay, you know what? Okay, let's do it. So I went 1 week in Paris, and I went to the archives, the audiovisual archives, and I made like a kind of research, and I saw that it's not that a lot of things been made in Pakistan. So I say, okay, this is the subject. I'm okay. I'm gonna do it, and this is the subject, and this is what we're gonna work on. And it was the first, this channel, it was their first documentary. Okay. And we had like a golden award with a golden prize with it's called Pakistan 7.6. It's the Richter, scale, 7.6. And we won a golden award. And they were really amazed. And then, okay, we want to continue with you. So, and then they commissioned like a kind of, 4 or 5 other movies, during 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was every 1.5 year, like one movie.
So it was like a foot in the door kind of thing.
Exactly.
And you knocked it out of the park, and they said, "We want you."
Yeah. And then they just came. Sometimes they just come with a subject, and they say, "Okay, we want to do something in India, for example. We want to do something in North Africa." Or the last one was in Tunisia about the Arab Spring, and I say, "Okay, so we want to have your point of view, your vision on what's happening there."
Yeah.
So I just like take the big subject and then dig into it and come up with an idea and a story and present it, and we talk about it. And then if they agree, they fund it. Most of the time they agree on it. And that's it. Besides that, the feature is something else because, producing feature
that's
is
for documentaries.
Yeah, it's quite different. I mean, even though there are funds for documentaries, because here in the United States there are funds, but it's quite different. In Europe, it's much more the state funds.
Okay.
You have like more than 60%. It's 60%, 70%. It's the state funds.
Okay.
So for feature, you will have the World Cinema Fund. You will go for the National Center of Cinema in France. You will go for, other Uberbals funds. You will go for, Italian funds, and it's much more co-productions.
Okay,
it's much more. So co-production between France, Italy, and Germany, or France and Algeria, or France or Egypt, or stuff like that. Okay, so we don't have private equity in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, till now there are like small experience now. People are putting some money in there, but it's not that much. It's not like in the States. So it's very strange in Europe when you say a business plan for a movie, which is something very common here. I mean, it's something normal.
It's as normal as pie.
Yeah, it's you have to.
Yeah.
But I didn't heard about any business plan in Europe during more than 10 or 15 years, because there are no business plan there, because it's not, it's meant to bring money, but since it's state money most of the time,
then it's a little bit more creative liberty.
Yeah, exactly. But here it's much more like a business. So if you put like 1 million, how much is going to bring back, return on ROI and stuff like that. So that's what I
love results. We love results.
Yeah, which is good. So I'm learning also. I've learned how to do business plan and stuff like that, and the whole study and projections, and so these are the main differences between the production industry in Europe and the States. Yeah.
Interesting. Blake, do you have any questions? You're kind of rocking back and forth. Did you have a burning question you want to ask?
I did actually. Do you have a favorite? Well, actually, it's kind of two questions actually. So do you have a favorite actor or actress? And what's your all-time favorite movie genre?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Definitely. I have a lot of favorite actors and actresses like Meryl Streep or Anthony Hopkins or Jack Nicholson or
love Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey as well. He's a Texan guy.
He's a Texas guy.
Yeah. So Meryl Streep, as I said, these very incredibly talented actors.
Yeah, those are titans. Those are titans.
Yeah, and the movie that made me really, really, really cry for the whole screening duration was Boyhood.
What?
Yeah.
Boyhood.
Yeah, it's a film they shot over multiple summers.
Multiple. 12 years.
It's a progression of this young boy growing
Netflix?
up.
It's Richard Linklater movie, and it's just amazing as a filmic experience. And I was amazed that Richard Linklater is in, of course, in Austin. He founded the Austin Film Society.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't know that before. And it's a movie who's dealing with time.
Yeah.
In my personal life and my philosophy and my way of being, time is the let's say the element that the most important, interesting, and the deepest element that I'm sensitive to.
I agree with that. Not to boil down philosophy to one thing, but time is more valuable than money.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And you see the time. It's incredible experience. How they started when he was like, I think 6 or 8, and just like, whoa, the progression with the whole family, and it's like, whoa, this is really a major and unique kind of experience in history of cinema.
Yeah, that movie was groundbreaking. I remember when it came out, and it just stopped everybody. and it was on the list of a lot of my friends, planning to watch it, and there was little bits of news about it as they were filming it, about the release and things like that. So, I remember when that came out, it just sent shockwaves.
Oh yeah, I saw it in Paris, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it in Paris.
Like at that opening screening? Or?
No. It was like a regular one, and
okay.
And I was with my girlfriend at that time, and I was like, we went there. I was like, oh my god, what's that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh, it's incredibly. I mean, smart, talented, gifted, inspiring, mind-blowing, and you name it.
So that gave me an idea for a question. Is what are French theaters like? Are they small? I assume they're smaller than American theaters. And what's the comparison there?
You have both. You have what we call AREC. These theaters, of course, they're small one, and they are, old one. They're really old, and it's really great experience to go to this kind of movie theaters, or you still now have the classic movies, the Antonioni and Wells and Bergman and Godard and all these great.
Yeah, we studied Bergman and Godard. And
Godard, yeah.
Breathless.
Greatest
hit of a film nerd.
yeah. So you have all this, and then you have the big thing like the Gaumont, Pathé, UGC, like big theaters with 20, 30 movie theater in the same
more of like a
franchise thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you been to Alamo? Do you like the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema?
No.
Here?
No.
It's pretty different. It's different because they give you full meals as the movie's going on.
So, oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
Okay.
a fun experience. It's great for popcorn movies and stuff like that, like Star Wars or something like that.
Okay.
Or horror movies too.
Okay.
Because you could just drink in the back and don't go in there.
It's great. Yeah, it's great experience, right? There.
Yeah, we've definitely brought like as many pleasurable things to the movie theater as possible as Texans, specifically, and Americans.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the movie was okay, but we're going to make this awesome every time. We're going to make the movie irrelevant.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like theaters go here, there's a lot of really awesome Art Deco theaters.
Oh,
and it's become kind of a trend in the States. Yeah.
But now they're closed, right? Or
that's a good question. I know one closed here, but there's another one that's like sort of like a $5 the theater where they play older movies, and it's on South Congress.
Okay.
And that one's actually still open.
It's open.
I forget the name of it, but up north there was actually an Art Deco theater that freshly opened.
Okay.
It was a renovated theater that closed in the 80s, and the guy that owned the local newspaper there totally renovated it and reopened it as the West Theater, because it's in like the west part of the city, and it's beautiful, beautiful Art Deco theater. And I worked there briefly, and I learned about how there's all these kind of unheard of theaters all over the country that are Art Deco, locally owned, kind of stick to like a certain theme and things like that. And those are really gems in the States, and definitely the place to like enjoy like real cinema and real sort of art house films and things like that. We call them art house films, but it's just sub $2 million, $200 million budgets.
Yeah,
is an art house film,
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't there an Alamo at the Barton Creek Mall as well, like on the bottom floor?
No, that's actually Barton Creek 14. It's like Barton Creek Lake 14, so it's just a 14-foot theater. Oh, okay. They don't do food there, but they do have like a movie franchise called Movie House and Eatery. It's a big stretch of the imagination for that name. Okay. But they're really good. They're super comfortable, reclining seats, and they streamlined the burger delivery services during any movie, and it's awesome. But not just specifically that, but it's a really comfortable theater as well.
Okay,
so that's my favorite one in town.
I'll visit. I'll have a look. Yeah.
So we got kind of a nice variety between as well. And I like the smaller theaters. I like, especially during COVID, I was brave enough to go out to theaters.
Yeah.
I got a story about that. I went to see this movie called Possessor. Really, really amazingly shot horror movie. And while I was shooting, while I was watching, there was like 2 people in the theater. And it was awesome because it was like I felt like I rented the theater. It was like my own private theater.
Yeah.
But like during one of the scenes, like midway through the second act, somebody coughed in the theater,
and it was
like a jump scare.
Oh my god!
This is like mid pandemic. Took me out of the movie. I'm like, oh shit, the killer's in the room.
Wow. Okay.
But I know, like, I'm really hoping theaters can weather this storm. But besides that, like 4 people in a giant theater is awesome. Like you get the whole row to yourself, and
sure. But at the same time, it's movies are collective experience.
It's experiencing things as a collective is also like you can't replicate that without those people there. So I definitely miss that.
Absolutely. We hope that's gonna be back as soon as possible, at least before the end of the year, so we can back to somehow normal. And because it looks like we're losing and we don't know how it works normally. Now we're gonna keep masks and stuff like that, and our industry was really and still very affected by what's happening now.
Definitely.
But there's nothing like human experience and human being gathering together and having a common experience and being in contact together. We need to bond. We need to be connected. We need to really feel each other. We can't spend our lives behind screens and just talking and connecting behind screens. It's just not really. It's good, but it's awful at the same time.
I hear that.
Nothing better than the direct connection like we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine we were doing it online.
On Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We interrupt each other.
Go over it. Yeah. Exactly.
We've done one interview over Zoom with David Hernandez. What's up, David? He's a stunt coordinator and grew up in SoCal. And I think it's like San Diego or somewhere around there, but he got into stunts and stuff out there. So he's worked on History Channel and all these different things. And he came into the industry podcast and interviewed a little bit, but it was on Zoom. And when he answered, he was hiking in the mountains, and we just had audio only. And it was wonderful to hear his voice and everything like that. But it's just that human connection thing is always like it's a sure thing in person.
Yeah, exactly. It's another experience, definitely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how have we been getting through the pandemic and things like that? Do you think we're on the other side of it?
Yeah, I think so. Now with the vaccine, I think that we're getting, gradually we're getting to the end, and we're gonna have some, just invert the curve, and we're gonna be hopefully by the end of the year out of the red zone, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I see what's happening in India, it's just like, whoa, really, really dangerous, mind blowing.
I've heard about that. Yeah. Do you also feel a little bit like you're going to be asked by your friend in Qatar to go shoot there and cover it?
Definitely not. No, but I don't know. If there's any serious project, why not? I'm always here to reach out to the others and get into work on these very particular and humanitarian projects. There's no problem for that. Now, much more like, as I said, much more focusing on being here in Austin and working here and getting to connect to people and to the industry and get to know people. That's my main focus. I'm at the same time the founder of a human rights film festival in Tunisia. So I founded in 2012
Human Rights
Film Festival.
Interesting.
Yeah. I founded a Human Rights Film Festival in Tunisia back in 2012, and I was like the executive director of the film festival during 5 years.
Wow.
And then I have to leave to Belgium, but remained as like let's say artistic director of the film festival. And we stopped at the film festival in Tunisia. Even when I was in New York, I was back and forth, just to help the festival. And it's an international festival. We had people from all around the world, but
cool.
It had to be interrupted. And I don't that much believe in online screening. I'm sorry. I mean, all my colleagues that believe in online screening, that's good. Okay, you keep on going. That's fine. But, for me, it's not that much, And we saw how much Cannes, for example, they tried to do the online thing. But, it's...
Yeah, South by Southwest tried to do it too.
Yes, and so what's the result?
I barely heard about it.
Yeah.
It didn't create the buzz.
Exactly.
It's talked aboutness.
Yeah, it loses its shining part of of it. So that's why. So back to normal is back to the theater, back meeting people, back to master classes, back to markets, back to gathering and talking, and So we hope this July we're gonna have a Cannes Film Festival. Okay. That's going to be in person, so they're going to attend there. Until now, it's confirmed. We'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I've heard that South by Southwest the same. They're going to bring it back in person as well.
I haven't heard anything for next year, but I know a friend of mine got hired to be an editor for the content that was generated for this year. So it was all online. It was all individual classes. Price tag stayed the same for like the physical class would be like with a celebrity or something like that, or a screenwriter or something like that, and it was like $300 plus for a ticket to get in. And online somebody clicks admit to the room and it's the same price tag. So that I feel like that stopped a lot of people who wanted to be interested, because the value there isn't the same. It's not like you can talk to them after class or
and talk to others as well,
or whatever, what have you. You're just the name on the list kind of thing. And we bring a lot of star power here for South by Southwest. And I know last year I missed the opportunity as well, so I have yet to see the true power of South by Southwest, because last year I was actually scheduled to be a ticket taker for a event staffing company. So I saw the ad and I jumped onto it and I said, hey, I'll just take tickets of people coming to South by Southwest and make that connection and talk to people who are coming in and it got shut down and all the companies pulled out. So I have yet to see it in its full power. So I can't wait till it comes back into person.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. Hopefully
it's gonna happen next year.
Yeah.
You think for sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I'm sure by next March, I'm pretty sure I'm sure all the adults will be vaccinated, kids can be vaccinated by then, and stuff like that. So
I like your optimism.
And I definitely want to participate in South by Southwest next year too, because I'm sure Routine and Inherent Qualities and all the other films we've done, I'm pretty sure they'll be advertised in the South by Southwest too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess that's a good segue into just wrapping it up a little bit. So what's that film you're working on? Is there anything that you want to share going forward? Anything you want to get out to the world now? Can we be the exclusive?
Offering. It's a horror movie to be shot between North Africa, 3 weeks, and here in the States, probably why not Austin for 4 weeks, and it's written with Mark McCannon and an awesome guy from New York City. Writer, producer as well.
Cool.
And so hopefully we will meet the producers here interested in horror movie. And what we're bringing is like kind of, what we call ethno horror. Mm-hmm. Ethno horror. It's a horror where you put together two kind of legacy or two kind of culture. Here it's the Berber North African culture and the U.S. culture, and you bring them together in the frame of the horror genre. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really, and we work on a lot of some cultural side of the Berber culture, like the tattoo things, and we did 2 scoutings in North Africa, and it's really, we have an amazing locations, really amazing location, and the story is really powerful. So we didn't find the producer yet, and we're looking forward to meeting the right one.